What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight. Hope you guys have all had a great Wednesday. Hope you guys are ready for a live 2023 fantasy football draft. We are hopping into Best Ball Mania for tonight through Underdog Fantasy. Super excited to be here tonight with you guys. Super excited to throw together another fantasy football squad. So make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. If you guys are new to the channel, I greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that subscribe button down below. But most importantly, hop in the live chat. Let me know what's popping. Let me know how you guys are doing. Any fantasy football topics, redraft, dynasty, best ball, whatever it may be, any NFL topics, get to go in the live chat. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk some fantasy football. So I'm going to try and kind of run you guys through a little bit more in depth of what I like to do in my best ball drafts. But we'll kind of see how things go. Never know. Things can get crazy pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into a draft. And, yeah, let's do it, man. So, of course, if you guys are new to Underdog Fantasy, you can double your first deposit dollar by dollar up to $100 with promo code TheCatch. Promo link in the description down below. It's on the screen, all that good stuff. And, yeah, man. There are 9 spots currently open. If you guys just go into the lobby, Best Ball Mania for 30 seconds per selection, and you guys want to draft with me, you should be able to hop right in because it looks like at the moment it's feeling a little bit slower than usual, but you never know. It can fill very, very quickly out of nowhere. So, yeah, man. Super excited to be here tonight. Let's do it. So, Albert's in the house. What's going on, my guy? Hello, hello. What's going on? Alan, excuse me. What's going on, man? Good to see you. What's up, what's up? Godfather, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing fantastic. Appreciate you coming out tonight. Not a ton we really need to get into tonight in terms of like NFL news, but Randall Cobb is headed to the Jets. So Aaron Rodgers acquiring another one of his good friends, veteran players, headed to the Jets. So from a fantasy perspective, am I going to like go out of my way to draft Randall Cobb? No. Does this affect Garrett Wilson or Allen Lazard in a negative manner? I wouldn't particularly say so personally. I just, when we look at Cobb last season, don't get me wrong, 50 targets, 34 receptions, 417 receiving yards, and a touchdown. So there's some productivity there, right? And when we look at the Jets receiving room at the moment, I mean, Wilson's number 1, Lazard's the number 2, but then you still got McCole Hardman there, you still got Corey Davis there, Denzel Mims, and Randall Cobb. So don't get me wrong, I do think that there's a world where Aaron Rodgers could look to target Randall Cobb, but I don't know. I just don't think. I think everyone would agree with this. I mean, you got Randall Cobb going into his 13th season, age 32. I just don't think there's going to be a ton of productivity there unless we see a plethora of injuries to the wide receiver position for the Jets. But overall, I mean, hey, it's cool. I like that Cobb is going to be with the Jets, going to be with Aaron Rodgers, and all that good stuff. But, from a pure fantasy perspective, I don't think anyone's really expecting this to be something substantial. So, yeah, and in case for any reason you were worried about Garrett Wilson shares or Allen Lazard shares, if you're trying to take a flyer on McCole Hardman or Corey Davis super late, whether it's in a very deep dynasty startup draft or the end of a best ball draft, I wouldn't be too concerned. So I do think you could throw a dart at drafting Randall Cobb in a best ball format, for example, but like you're hoping for like a week 15, 16 score, like that's the week that Aaron Rodgers find. Like I would say you have to draft Aaron Rodgers for the stack as well, and it's like definitely a last player off the board type of scenario. But yeah, we had that happen today, and outside of that, really nothing in my opinion that we need to go over. So that was a little bit of excitement, but that's all we've really got for the day. So Alan, what's the link to join the mock draft? So this is an Underdog draft, so you have to have an Underdog account, have to be able to play Underdog Fantasy in your respective state. And then, yeah, you just have to hop into the lobby at the same time as myself. It looks like it just filled, unfortunately. So we probably run 2 to 3 of these on a weekly basis. Outside of that, we are running free subscriber mock drafts through the Sleeper app. So if you're interested in joining one of our free subscriber mocks, we'd love to have you. Best way to get into one of those is to join our Discord. The link is in the description down below. It's completely free to join. And even if I'm not running a mock draft for the stream, our community is running mock drafts like literally like all day long. So yeah, and anytime you want to have a specific mock draft set up, or you want to set up a specific mock draft, you can throw it on Discord. We have a thread for that. You guys can, even if I'm not able to join you or run it on the stream per se, we'll get it figured out to where you can get a good mock in as well. Godfather, have a good night, my dude. Appreciate you stopping in for a minute. All right, I'm at the 1.1. We got J-Tubs in the house. What's up? Where you at, man? What's going on? I did 2 drafts last night where I was at the 1.2. And tonight I'm at the 1.1. So I'm just going to go with JJ here because I have no JJ shares because he is off the board at the 1.1 like 99.9% of the time. So I'll take him and we'll roll with JJ. So yeah, I'm going to try and build some stacks tonight for sure. And just kind of walk you guys through what I kind of like to do. But I will be honest, so far throughout the tournament, I haven't been following a specific strategy. I've just been trying to really break up my exposure to different players. I still want to be identifying like late round stacks like Kyler Murray, Rondell Moore, Trey McBride, for example, all really good values. If you're taking JJ off the board at 1.1, Kirk Cousins, a pretty cheap quarterback to go out and get in a later round. I like the Saints right now. Chris Olave at a pretty steep price, but a player that a lot of fantasy managers are going after at the moment. Then you can get guys like Rashid Shaheed pretty late, Jawan Johnson pretty late, most of that backfield pretty late, and then Derek Carr is a cheap quarterback as well. So, I think it's good to continue to break up exposure at the first half of the draft and then start to identify what later round stacks you can go after, right? So, but I will say you don't want to get too much exposure to a late round stack. Like if you're going through every single best ball draft and you're drafting Derek Carr and Rashid Shaheed and Jawan Johnson, you don't want to have too much exposure, okay? Trust me, because I had a lot of drafts last year where I would draft Mac Jones, Hunter Henry, and Kendrick Bourne like some of my final selections, and that helped me out in no way possible. So late round stacks, good to identify, good to find that value on the board, but also try to identify multiple late round stacks that you think are valuable because you just never know, right? Could be a really, really good thing for your team, could be a bad thing as well. So, Richie, what's up, man? How we doing? Hello, hello. J-Dubs, what's going on, man? First Chase share, I like it. It's an interesting spot at the 1.2. I mean, you can go C-Mac, you can go Kelsey, go Chase, go Bijan if you want to get crazy. I don't think it's too crazy. You can basically go with whoever your favorite player is that's not JJ, like 99% of the time, And I do think, JJ is going to be going at the 1.1 in the best ball tournament for a majority of drafts. But at the same time, when you're picking at the 1.1 and you don't pick again until pick 24, pick 25, you're going to see drafters who just go out and get their guy at 1.1 as well. So, but yeah, I think it's interesting with Chase at 1.2 because when we look at Joe Burrow's ADP on Underdog right now, he's sitting at 34.9, which is kind of, at 1.2, not the best spot because you've got pick 26, pick 47, pick 50, as well as pick 23. But it's just going to be tough to land Burrow unless he slides out a little. So you're either going to have to kind of overpay at 26 or get really lucky at 47, 50. That is if you want the stack, of course. You don't have to get the stack. And it's a little bit, probably too much of a steep price to really go after that specific stack. But like I said, you don't have to do that per se. You guys don't have to build stacks in best ball. It's just been a common strategy. And when you look at the winning team last year, if I'm not mistaken, they had Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, and DJ Moore. So, yeah, I mean, if you just hit on that right game in the final game of the round of the tournament, and you have the right stack, I mean, like, just for example, it just pays off tremendously. Not that DJ Moore and Tom Brady were a stack or anything, but that game in general was just a game that you wanted pieces of, right? All right, so I have been kind of toying with more of like a hero RB style. I'm going to take an additional receiver here. Give me Devonta. And I do want to pick a running back here. I have a lot of shares of Breece Hall right now. Like, I've been selecting Breece Hall in a lot of drafts. So that makes this selection tough. I'm going to switch it up a bit. Let's go 3 receivers tonight. Give me DK Metcalf. Let's switch it up a little bit tonight. I can still kind of go with a hero running back strat at pick 48, 49. I can even take 2 running backs off the board there. So, looking at the potential quarterbacks I like to land in this draft right now, like Jalen Hurts far gone at 2.8, right? So, we're not going to land any stacks there. But Kirk Cousins and Geno Smith, very, very acquirable quarterbacks in later rounds. So, while they're not the most intriguing names, don't bring the most upside to the table, we can at least potentially build better value on our respective squad by going out and getting those 2 players a little bit later. So we'll see what happens there. Thomas, what's going on, man? How we doing? Hello, hello. How are you doing tonight? J-Dubs, he'll settle into the 4th round eventually. It's early. That's fair. And I mean, I do think at this point in the offseason, quarterbacks are going a little bit sooner than general. I mean, we've been seeing Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes go anywhere from like the 1.11 to like the 2.4 in terms of how early they're going off the board. So I do think that as the offseason progresses, we could see those quarterbacks, including Joe Burrow, who you're referencing, settle back in rankings a little bit for sure. So, all right, big run at running back so far in the 3rd round. Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Jacobs, Etienne, Ramondre off of the board. So when we look at the scoring format for Best Ball Mania 4 this year, overall, right, it's a half PPR format. Receiving touchdowns and rushing touchdowns are 6 points. Receiving yards, rushing yards 0.1. Passing yards 0.04. Passing touchdowns are 4 touchdowns. 4 points. So that is one aspect, right? When we're looking at the quarterback position, if you can get a quarterback who scores more rushing touchdowns, you do have a little bit of an advantage, being that those touchdowns are going to count as 6 points compared to a passing touchdown counting as 4 points. 2-point conversions count as 2 points. A lost fumble is negative 2 points. So it's pretty straightforward in terms of the scoring format, but you can definitely argue that rushing touchdowns, running backs, I guess I should say, hold a little bit more merit because it is a half PPR scoring format. But another way to look at it is the fact that when we look at the roster settings, you've got 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers on a consistent basis. So the wide receiver position always holds a lot of merit in best ball tournaments for that specific reason. On top of that, you have a flex position as well. Could very well have a wide receiver in the flex on top of that. Just 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, then you have your 10 bench spots, of course. So it's kind of an interesting balance when you think about the 3 wide receiver format and the half PPR scoring format at the same time. J-Dub's only quarterbacks I like taking without their targets are those with rushing upside, or without their stacks are those with rushing upside. Yeah. And I mean, we see Burrow's already gone at the 3.9. Justin Fields off the board at 3.12. Lamar Jackson off the board at 4.3. The running back position just continues to get decimated. Kenneth Walker gone at 3.11. Jahmyr Gibbs at 4.2. Najee Harris gone at 4.4. There goes Calvin Ridley moving into the wide receiver position at 4.5. So maybe not the best night for me to fade the running back position, but we'll find out here because, gosh, that was a ton of value off the board very quickly. We'll see what happens. But a lot of good wide receivers. Like, part of me is just like, hey, maybe we'll just load up at receiver tonight. Start with like 4 or 5, but probably not the smartest strategy. So we'll probably go for some running backs with these next 2 selections at the turn here. But I don't know. Mike Williams available, Christian Watson, Jerry Jeudy, Drake London. We still got some good quarterbacks. I would still consider that a top tier in terms of Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence still being available. Running backs, I mean, it's a whole tier has dropped down, if not 2 tiers for sure. Tight ends still at a pretty good pace. We still got Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews as the only tight ends off the board, so a lot of big names still available at the tight end position as well. And there goes TJ Hawkinson, so he's gone. And I would consider Hawkinson having JJ already and trying to build a Minnesota stack overall. But that's another thing. Like when we're talking about stacks, you don't want to dive too deep into the stack, in my opinion. You don't, like JJ, Kirk Cousins, maybe a tight end is fine. Running back on the same team, I don't really consider that to be part of a stack. Like it is, but at the same time, I just think you only see so many running backs catching, because when you think about a stack, you want it to be the quarterback throwing the football to the next player, right? Give me 1 second here. Let's go DeAndre Swift for fun. And let's go with Pacheco. Trying to think of running backs who towards the end of the season could be in competitive football games, who could be in games where you're fighting for better playoff seeding, home field advantage, et cetera, just going to be in competitive football games, who are going to have to score touchdowns. So hopefully DeAndre Swift is healthy. Then Isaiah Pacheco, obviously both of those guys tied to very good offenses and bring some nice upside to the table as well. Let's go. Let's see. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Let me apologize. There we go. Okay, you should be able to see the board a little bit better there. My apologies. Thomas, pay period begins on Sunday. I'm already 12 hours overtime. Whew. Yeah, but you are tired, my dude. Jacob's taking Nick and Burrow's crazy. I know they stole him from you, bro. Oh, man. You probably would have been able to... Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, if you went Chase, Higgins, Burrow, that's probably the only way you land all 3 of those guys. Now, like when I talked about limiting stacks, like, I mean, I still think there are some circumstances where maybe you go a little bit more all in, like Burrow, Chase, Higgins, I think is a fine example. I think that T-Law on like 2 of his receivers is okay. Maybe Rodgers, Wilson, Lazard could be interesting. They're all, I mean, Jalen Hurts, Smith, A.J. Brown. Like, I mean, there are examples where it's like, yeah, like this, if you're going to go in, that's fine. But overall, I do think, like, if you're going to sit down and draft, Tua, Waddle, and Hill, I don't really mind either. But, like, I don't know. If you just go out and draft an entire offense, it could end up backfiring. If that offense has just one of those weeks, like, where they end up being complete bums, and an important week in the tournament for you could really hurt you. If you go out and you get Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Quentin Johnston, Austin Eckler, and Gerald Everett, and the Chargers have one of those performances where things are very disappointing and it's week 15, you're trying to move along the tournament, it could just really hurt you, So there's a little bit of a gamble, but like if you got, all the Eagles players last season, for example, then you were probably pushing along pretty easily until like Jalen Hurts had those couple of games where he's hurt, right? So I don't know. I think it can be risky to push into an entire offense, and I do think you kind of, when you look at a stack, like you probably don't want more than 2-3 players at most overall. I just think you just want to kind of continue to limit your different exposures overall. Well, I guess you don't want to end up limiting your overall exposure, I guess what I was trying to say. Richie, dynasty question. Was offered Richardson for A.J. Brown straight up super flex. My quarterbacks are Burrow and Mac Jones. What do you think? It depends, Richie. What does the rest of your wide receiver room look like? It would be the first question I ask. Like, what does it look like if you lose A.J. Brown off your team in terms of the wide receiver position? And it also depends, like, are you in a 3 wide receiver format? Do you play 2 wide receivers? How many flex spots do you have? I don't know. I think Richardson, obviously extremely intriguing. A lot of upside there. Superflex format obviously holds a ton more value. But I personally, I don't know. I think I might just keep A.J. Brown in that circumstance. But like I said, depends on your receiver room, how many wide receivers you have to play, all that good stuff. Chat, what do you guys think? Anthony Richardson for A.J. Brown, straight up, Superflex format, already owns Joe Burrow, mac and cheese. Which side of the trade do you guys prefer? Obviously, Mac Jones in the Superflex, not a ton of upside. Hopefully, with the new offensive coordinator, looks a little bit better overall. Joe Burrow's your QB1's absolutely beautiful, though. So, yeah, I'd just be interested in what other wide receivers are on your team. J-Dubs, I'd rather just have access to the wide receivers and force Burrow when I think the field will adjust the ADP to the 4th round by August once they get more sharp. Absolutely fair. Love the Tyler Lockett selection right there. Makes me a little sad inside. Let's get Rachaad White. I think he's going to have a good season. I don't know how competitive the Bucs are going to be towards the end of the season, but we'll take him regardless. All right, let's just go Hollywood Brown here. Bring a little bit of upside to the wide receiver position. I thought about maybe going tight end there. Thought about adding another running back. I mean, like you got Monty here. Could be a touchdown vulture. I don't know. When I look at wide receiver, though, I think there's a pretty big drop-off. Like, Jameson Williams, still interesting. But I think after Hollywood Brown, there's a significant drop-off. So we'll go ahead and snag him up there. And I think we'll continue to hold off at quarterback. Tight end is getting a little murky, though. I think we could see a pretty large tight end run at like any moment. So we'll see what happens here. But, yeah, I mean, JJ, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, Hollywood Brown, love the start at wide receiver. Swift, Pacheco, Rachaad White. I think we're doing okay at running back as well. Let's see. Yeah, it definitely depends, Richie. If you have any more context you want to listen to. I mean, like I said, like I probably am keeping AJ Brown. But that's the thing, like if Richardson is who a lot of people think Richardson could be, then that's a pretty fair trade in a super flex format for sure. Rio Goaded, what's up, bro? How we doing? What's up, man? How are you? It's so good to see you. What's going on with you, my guy? What's up? What's up? Thomas, AJ Brown is more upside. I mean, it's probably pretty close for looking purely at upside. Richardson could definitely be a player you argue has a ton of upside, but it's just two very, very different positions, of course. Superflex, obviously, like I said, far more value when we're looking at the quarterback position. It's close. It's close, but the safer side is definitely keeping A.J. Brown. The risk is with trading for Anthony Richardson. It's just one of those things, like 2-3 years from now, you could either really regret not getting Anthony Richardson, or you could be very happy. It's just really close. I would definitely trust your gut. Like, if you feel good about Richardson, then I think you probably go ahead and do it. If you're kind of on the fence still, then I don't know. I think you probably just stay with A.J. Brown. But it definitely depends on the roster and the rest of the receivers on that squad. What's going on, Albert? What have you been up to, man? Rio, I'm doing good. Just wait on the season to hurry up and start 100%. Seems like the season's getting closer, but closer. I 110% agree. 110% agree. I feel like this offseason definitely has gone by faster than last offseason for sure. I mean, obviously we have a lot of time left, but I feel like, it's already May. It's going to be June before we know it. But yeah, man, super excited for this season. Super excited for redraft content to come back as well. I mean, that's really like my bread and butter and what I enjoy the most, what I had the most experience with. But This offseason's definitely been a unique challenge and a lot of fun. Kind of just starting to dive into Dynasty content, all the aspects of it, and kind of studying, a lot of different channels from afar, a lot of different Dynasty content out there, a lot of different, like Dynasty rankings, just learning how to kind of prepare for the Dynasty or start of the Dynasty season, so to speak, and looking at college players, just stuff that I've never really done before. So for me, this offseason's been like super busy. That's probably part of the reason why it's felt like it's gone by so much faster. All right. I don't know what I'm going to do with this next selection. I feel like I have to draft Kirk Cousins because I have JJ. So that's probably what I'm going to do. J-Dubs also needs a quarterback, so he might just take him. There goes Kamara. I saw J-Mo there. I was kind of intrigued. All right, I'll take Captain E like that, Kirk Cousins. And I'll go Evan Ingram here. Give me a tight end. Yeah, not the most exciting picks, but necessary picks, I think, for this team. So we'll take him off the board. I kind of wanted Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going to lie. Just because he's on the thumbnail. I feel like anytime I put a player on the thumbnail, I for some reason, want them on my team more. Which doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. There goes Rodgers. Didn't think he was going to last much longer. All right, let's see here. Legacy, when you get Walker now. When you get Walker now and ETN. Let's see here. Walker went at 3.11 and ETN went at 3.6. So Walker is taking a pretty massive hit in ADP overall. I think he's a great value where he's at. I really, really do. Team that's got him's got Josh Allen, Pittman, Cooks, JT Walker, Gibbs, Dobbins, Cook. I mean, they're like loading up at running back. So I don't know. But yeah, I still think Walker's a really good value where he's going. I would be taking advantage of his ADP right now, and I'd also be taking advantage of Charbonnet's ADP right now because I think as the offseason progresses, if like certain reports come out of like Seahawks training camp that Pete Carroll makes a comment we'll be playing both running backs in a committee approach, or I don't know, if any signs start to point towards a Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt type of thing coming out, then I actually think that both of their ADPs could move up a little bit. So, I don't know. I would be taking advantage of that right now in whatever way you can, whether you're drafting a little bit earlier than other people, or you're doing a startup draft, or you're doing best ball drafts, J-Dubs, the draft capital tells me Indy is all in. I mean, they're definitely all in. 110% agree with that. They're all in. For sure. And, you've got, the offensive mind that was tied to Jalen Hurts' success. Now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. So, I don't know. I definitely think that there's a lot of reason to believe in Richardson. When Jalen Hurts got drafted, although he was drafted much later, and Carson Wentz was with the Eagles, there's a lot of disbelief in his skill set and what he could be. When Lamar Jackson was drafted, a lot of disbelief in his skill set and what he could be as well. So I think you definitely argue that Lamar as well as Hurts were better prospects overall quarterback prospects coming out of college, where Richardson, just a tremendous athlete and does ridiculous things on the field, but maybe not the best overall quarterback prospect. But he is in a position where he needs to be developed as a passer more, needs to become more accurate, needs to at times make better decisions on the field. But I mean, if he gets things polished out, yeah, I think he can be right up there for sure. Dang it, there goes Geno. I had a strong feeling I was not going to be able to land Geno. No Geno Metcalf stack for me tonight. All right, Richie, DJ Moore, McLaurin, Dotson, Gabe Davis, Mingo, playing 3 wide receivers. Man, that's close. That's close. Because now you go from starting A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, McLaurin, and having the ability to flex like Dotson, Gabe Davis, and Mingo. Like, I like those guys more as flex options right now. I want consistency in my starting receivers. But you gain so much more upside in your super flex position with Anthony Richardson over Mac Jones. But I don't know, man, does that outweigh the value of being able to start a guy like A.J. Brown as your primary wide receiver with DJ Moore and McLaurin behind him? Because, like, I like DJ Moore, and I think that he's going to be successful with the Bears. And I like Scary Terry as much as the next guy, but, like, he doesn't necessarily bring a ton of upside to the table. So that's a close one for me, man. We'll have to continue to ponder that. All right, give me the Lizard Man. I'm going to have so many Allen Lazard shares. It's going to be stupid. It really is. Okay, I don't love this, but give me Kyler Murray right here over Jared Goff. I don't. I know, roast me, but I've got Hollywood on this team. Can snag up Trey McBride in the later round. Rondell Moore is still available. It just makes more sense for the roster, and I still love me some Kyler. It's like, what, quarterback 7 in fantasy before he went down for the year. Was a top 5 quarterback at times. I'm fine with Kyler. I get it. Like, I'm not drafting him for the beginning of the season. I'm drafting him for the second half of the season. So, but I think it's still brings a lot of upside. I'm good with him right there. But yes, this does mean that I will have to draft 1 to 2 more quarterbacks before things are done. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna have a ton of Allen Lazard shares. I can already tell. Like, I truly think by the time the tournament closes, Allen Lazard would be my most drafted player. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we'll find out. All right, throwing together a little queue here. Okay, I'm going to start paying attention to the running back position. Although I'm pretty happy with my first 3 guys. But I'm going to add some pieces for sure. Yeah, I do think that at the moment throughout the tournament, rookie value continues to be very nice. There are definitely names that are moving up on the board, and some of those top tier guys can be a little bit more difficult to select. But I don't know, like, if you play in a dynasty format and you've really been paying attention to rookies throughout, leading up to the NFL draft and everything, there's going to be a lot of names right now in the tournament that you can go out and get at pretty good values overall. So keep that in mind. But that could change at, like, any moment for sure. And, we definitely can see names fluctuate in the offseason out of nowhere. I mean, think about, like, Dameon Pierce last offseason, who I talked about post-NFL draft consistently, and then, starts showing off in preseason and, became like a 4th-round selection by, the time people were actually drafting, so, which pained me inside. Okay, sorry, still throwing together a little queue here and trying to keep track of who's available and who's not. Okay, I should be good for the moment. Comcast came to a deal with NFL Network Red Zone, so they canceled yesterday. Roger Goodell stepped in and made them make a deal. Could have lost millions of customers, including me. Wow. Comcast. I grew up with Comcast, and where I live now, there's no Comcast. So I haven't thought about Comcast in, like, a really long time. It was like a flash from the past. Yeah, the whole, like, I don't know, everything happening with NFL Network, Red Zone, NFL Sunday Ticket, it's all, like, a little bit confusing. But I've had YouTube TV for quite some time, and if I'm not mistaken, I think a lot of people are getting it confused to where you think that you have to have YouTube TV with NFL Sunday Ticket and NFL Red Zone. Like, you have to have all of that. What I personally have, and keep in mind, like, I don't know if this is changing, and I've also had this for like 2 or 3 years, but I just have YouTube TV with one of the added sports packages that includes NFL Red Zone, and it's not as high of a price, not anywhere close to the rates that are coming out for NFL Sunday Ticket with NFL Red Zone. And I personally, I mean, I have run this YouTube channel and everything, right? Like, watch as much football as the next guy out there, right? If not more. I don't have any reason to have NFL Sunday Ticket. Like, I don't need to watch every NFL game beginning to finish, or have the ability to turn on any NFL game at any moment. Like, I really truly believe that NFL Red Zone is all you need. I really believe that, especially if like you're tracking fantasy football. I really believe that's all you need. Man, I was hoping Jared McKinnon would slide back a bit. Oh, and I wanted Derek Carr. There goes J-Lo. Okay, now things are getting interesting. Now things are getting interesting. Ooh, yeah, this is tough right here. Okay, give me Gainwell. And I feel like I still have to go QB here. Man, it's tough. I'm gonna go Greg Dulcich here. I'm gonna try and switch it up a bit tonight. Give me Dulcich. We'll figure out quarterback later, I guess. Give me another running back. I mean, we've got 5 receivers I believe in. I'm still okay with this squad so far. But yeah, I wanted Carr because, like, when we're looking at the board, like, Jawan Johnson, definitely available in later rounds. Rashid Shaheed available in later rounds. I don't know that I would have got both. Especially because Johnson's now the top-rated tight end, and Shaheed might not even make it back to me, so I don't know. Maybe just having that stable quarterback play would have been nice. Taylor, YouTube TV with Red Zone is goated. Yeah, I truly don't think you need anything more than that, personally. Don't. Bryce and Mingo, yeah. I was looking at Bryce Young. Mingo's on my board, but I don't know. I'll just get 2 depth pieces and call it around for now. Thomas, last year was the first year I've had Sundays off in the year, so I'm loving Red Zone. Crazy they don't have Comcast on the East Coast. They do. It's just the area I live in now. Is all it's all Cox. That's the only thing here. But I don't have cable or anything like that. I just use YouTube TV. So I don't watch a ton of TV. So, like, truly the only reason I need it is for sports. I really, like, other than something, my wife wants to watch something, I don't watch anything on TV. So that does the trick for us. But yeah, Comcast. I still where I grew up is like Northern Virginia area, and now I'm in Southern Virginia area. There's definitely Comcast. Northern Virginia. It's not in Southern Virginia, to my understanding at least, but definitely still on the East Coast for sure. All right, into the end of the 13th round we go. So far, looking at this team, Cousins, we've got him stacked up with JJ. That's why he's our primary QB1. We're able to fade QB for that reason. Kyler's our QB2. We're going to polish that out, promise. Running backs, Swift, Pacheco, White, Gainwell. I'm okay with that start. JJ, Devonta Smith, Metcalf, Hollywood, Allen Lazard, okay with that start. Ingram and Dulcich, lately I've been drafting 2 tight ends and calling it a day. If towards the end of the draft the best available value is a 3rd tight end, then we'll take a 3rd tight end. But I'm okay with the Ingram and Dulcich. There is injury history to both those guys, but like that happens at the tight end position. So I don't know if we can get the right value on a rookie tight end that's out there. And even Trey McBride, because we have Kyler, could be an option. But when I'm looking at tight ends towards the very end of my draft, I like Noah Fant a lot. I like Luke Musgrave, and I like Cade Otton. Like, if I'm talking about like tight ends that are going very, very late, those are the guys I'm looking at. I like Sam Laporta and Hayden Hurst, but I think they're a little bit, higher overall in ADP. Like Laporta and Hurst are at 190, 191, and then McBride's at 169. McBride, excuse me, is at 169. Vance at 208. Musgrave's at 212. Kate On's at 215. Definitely much better ADP on those guys. So. Okay, I do need to add some wide receiver depth, so we're going to have to start looking at some options. And but I need another quarterback or two. I might have to go double quarterback with this next round, which is going to pain me, but I don't know. There goes staph infection. Yeah, I just queued up like every single quarterback. I still need some running back depth as well. Yeah, that's one thing I'm noticing, guys. Like running backs are scarce. Like you can only fade running back to such a degree. Like I went 3 receivers, 3 running backs, added another receiver because I felt like Hollywood was the best available player. Had to get a QB at that point. Had to get a tight end. Felt like Lazard was the best available player right there. Had to get another QB. And then I was able to add Kenneth Gainwell. And yeah. I mean, after he's gone, like Mostart, Wilson, Warren, Singletary, Zeke, adding tight end depth. Felt like Greg Dulcich was the top tier tight end available. So, running backs are drying up very quickly in these drafts so far. Just something to note. So, especially if you're not comfortable with a lot of the late round guys or relying on 2 or 3 guys to be your workhorse backs, I go through with caution for sure. Okay, what am I going to do with this next pick? Jawan Johnson's still here. Trey Lance, CJ Stroud, Kenny Pickett. I might go Pickett here. Brock Purdy's out there, but I love Purdy in terms of his current value, but coming off the injury, with Kyler coming off the injury, I just don't feel like it's a good mix. All right, give me Rondell Moore. Buddy him up with Kyler. And give me Kenny. Oh, I got 2 Arizona receivers. J-Dubs, I know you're happy about that Trey Lance selection. I thought about it. Retrospect may have been the better pick. Okay, so we've got 3 more picks. I need some running back depth, and I need another receiver. That's what I got to do here. 2 running backs, 1 receiver. That's how I got to wrap it up. Yep. Let's do it. Bad admission, the wife got me watching Lifetime movies. Hey, man. Whatever you got to do, right? For me, it was Teen Mom and 90 Day Fiancé for a long time. But now that we have the baby, we don't have any time to watch anything. Any of my free time is dedicated to the channel, and we still watch some stuff, but not at the pace that we used to. So, but I feel like some Lifetime movies are at least entertaining in a sense. So yeah. All right, so like I said, 2 running backs and a receiver to wrap things up here. So let's kind of take a look at the board, see who's available. I want to keep an eye on these quarterbacks just to see, with us going Kenny, who's available at our next selection, and who was it the best decision to go pick it there, or should we have held off for maybe equal value? All right, so looking at available running backs, take a chance on Carter. Deuce Vaughn. Dwayne McBride I actually like as a later round pick. I really believe in Dwayne McBride. Evan Hull. Yeah, it's not pretty. Chuba, Leonard Fournette, Zach Evans. These are all guys we have to consider at this point. I'm so sad Izzy's with the Jets. I won't be surprised if Izzy carves out a role where he has valuable touches, though. Yeah, that is it. And, literally all those guys could be gone by the next time I pick. Probably not, but Wide receiver, we still got Josh Downs, Curtis Samuel, Josh Palmer, Timmy P. We got Thornton, John Mechie, Jaden Reed. There's just always going to be options at receiver. Cedric Tillman. Michael Carter off the board, by the way. Richie James, Marvin Jones, Darius Slayton, Kayshawn. Kayshawn's really starting to grow on me as a late round dart throw. Could easily become the wide receiver one for the Patriots. And if not, like a very good complementary piece next to Juju. But still holds some risk. Richie, I like McBride a lot, especially if Cook gets traded 100%. And I mean, I like Alexander Madison as much as anyone. Like, I do think he'll be their RB1, but I could also see a situation where both running backs are utilized. So at the end of your draft, like, I'm fine with it. And a startup draft, I love McBride right now. I really do. Because I think that, Madison, if I'm not mistaken, is just on a 1-year deal. And I think McBride is easily skilled enough to step in and be productive as a starting running back for sure. All right, so where do I want to go here? Well, I got to take McBride off the board. Can't risk it. And then just give me Zach Evans. Like, let's just go 2 rookie running backs. Like, those are guys that I could both see scoring touchdowns at the end of next season. So we need running back depth. There's no one out here. So I'll take those. I mean, Chuba Hubbard, I actually still think is a pretty decent option right here. But I think that Sanders is going to be the primary back there. But, yeah, could I see Chuba getting some value here and there sporadically? Sure. So Chuba's an okay option there, too. James Robinson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, I'm not super confident. Other than that, we got Cordero Patterson, but with Bijan there, unless they just make Patterson a receiving option, and even then, I'm not, like, super intrigued, Izzy's available, but there's so much depth at the running back position for the Jets. Deuce Vaughn, I do think is intriguing, but I'd rather take McBride and Evans. Yeah. I mean, you got Sean Tucker, who could be an option, I guess, but I've already got Rachaad White here. Yeah, there's just nobody. Evan Hull maybe. Could be in a Naheem Hines type of role for the Colts. You still got JT there. But I do like Evan Hull a lot. Okay, so quarterbacks like Mac Jones available, Baker's available, Will Levis available. So I'm not too upset about going Kenny Pickett. Garoppolo was there. Trey Lance brings a lot more upside. Brock Purdy was there. So, I don't know. Definitely some options there. Okay, let's look at wide receiver because that's what we're going to go with this final selection. Well, let's look at tight ends. Trey McBride's still out there. Conklin, Noah Fant, Schoonmaker, Musgrave, Darnell Washington, Cade Otton. There's a lot of good options, in my opinion, for the 18th round of a draft. Okay, looking at receiver, Josh Downs, Tim Patrick, Thornton, Jaden Reed, Cedric Tillman, got Bobby Trees and Claypool. There's a lot of options here. Richie James, Marvin Jones, Darius Slayton, Kayshawn. Lots and lots of options. So I'll literally just pick one of those guys. I don't think every single one of those players will be drafted. So we'll see what happens. J-Dubs, hate to take Hal unstacked, but he has rushing upside. Yeah, and I think for your squad it makes sense. I mean, you got Hal, Trey Lance, Jay Love, and Richardson. You need that fourth quarterback. You could argue for my team I need a fourth quarterback as well. Jaden Reed goes at pick 18.1. That's who I would have really liked to land. But at pick 216 would have been kind of tough. But, yeah, I think Jaden Reed's just going to continue to kind of climb up draft boards overall and rankings overall. I think he's in line to have a really good rookie season. But we shall see. nonetheless, a great value at 18.1. Yeah, I agree with you 100% J-Dubs that you needed 4 quarterbacks. For sure. I could still take a 4th with this final pick, but I'm just going to hope that Kenny takes a step forward and Kirk holds me in. It's like, yeah, my QBs outside of Kyler, not a ton of upside, but at least I had the stack with Kirk and JJ. And then I still like Pickett. So, I don't know. I think this team turned out okay tonight. Not perfect, but no team's going to be perfect. You don't really want your team to be perfect in your eyes. Like, you want to switch up your exposure, and you want to make sure you're drafting different players throughout your best ball drafts. In my opinion, at least. I mean, always go with your gut, with your conviction, but you just don't want to overexpose yourself to particular players. Especially if one of them gets hurt. But that's impossible to call. Okay, so Jaden Reed's gone, Devontae Parker's gone, Josh Downs is gone. I don't know which one of these receivers I'm going to go with. Trey McBride's still available, who I'm also eyeing. But, I mean, I've got 2 Arizona receiving options, so I'll probably stay away. Could go Will Levis here, but I'm not going to. Chase Claypool's here. Cedric Tillman, Richie James. Let's go Kayshawn. Let's add a rookie. I'll take that. All right. Let's take a look at J-Dubs' team. We've got Richardson, J-Lo, Trey Lance, and Sam Howell. You know, for what you did at quarterback, I'm not really against it. J-Dub says, I actually loved it despite me going with late quarterback stacks. I mean, the upside of Richardson and Lance alone is really intriguing. Then, like, I think Love and Howell will bring some stability. So I think this quarterback room is certainly interesting and definitely allows you to load up at other positions. So, Tony Pollard, Cam Akers, Khalil Herbert, Chase Brown, Jerome Ford. Yeah, I mean, not a ton of depth here, and some guys who could be in more committee approaches, but, you know, I understand kind of fading the running back position to a degree. Receivers, we got Chase, Higgins, Watson, Lockett, J-Mo, Boyd, Dobbs. I mean, geez. Whoever drafted Burrows probably hates you, but I'm okay with this wide receiver room for sure. Kittle and Woods, I think is fine. I would have maybe considered another tight end, just in case Woods doesn't get enough volume and then Kittle's hurt at points. But, I mean, you still have Kittle, so you should be fine. And then I get what you're doing with Woods as well, because you have Richardson. I mean, I get it. So, with J-Lo, I mean, you've got Dobbs and Watson. With Howell, no connection there, but that's okay. No Colts wide receivers, but that's okay too. So, yeah. I mean, just building those late round stacks, right? I mean, obviously Trey Lance, big question mark. Maybe with George Kittle, though. So, yeah, man. Team looks fine to me. Looks like a fine entry. Running back's my least favorite part, but there are reasons for that. And, I mean, you know, when it comes time to those important games, if you've made it further or scored enough points, like, these guys could end up saving your roster. I mean, you just got to think, like, so many running backs who are starters at the beginning of the year are not starters at the end of the year. So, Brian, what's up, my guy? Have Bijan and JT. Would you trade one of them for Chase? Have JJ, Godwin, Watson, Ridley, London. No, I don't think I would. I would not trade Bijan. You know, I think it's actually more important. What other running backs do you have, Brian? But no, I don't think I would. Like, you have a really good wide receiver room. I mean, you're led by JJ. You have Drake London, who's going to take a huge step forward this season. You have Watson, who could also take a big step forward. Then you have Godwin and Ridley as, like, 2 nice veteran options. You know, I think if you add Chase, then you're just going to be turning around and trading another receiver, which is okay. I mean, of course, it matters. Are you playing 3 wide receivers? How many flex spots do you have? All that stuff. But I don't know, man. Bijan, JT, JJ, Watson, London, Godwin, Ridley. Looks like a pretty good starting core roster for me. So it just depends, I guess. Like if you do trade one, it's got to be JT over Bijan. And I mean, I love JT. Don't get me wrong. I'm not out on JT by any means. But yeah, if you trade JT for Chase, don't get me wrong. Like JJ, Chase, London as your starters, then Godwin, Watson, Ridley, like that's fine. That's beautiful. But it just depends. Like what running backs do you have? What does it do to your running back room? And ultimately, I don't feel like you have to make this trade by any means. But don't trade Bijan. Just don't do it. Don't do it. And even if you trade like JT for Chase, it is still fair. Don't get me wrong. But JT is still a very valuable player to have, undoubtedly. Okay, what in the world did we do tonight? We got captaining like that, Kirk Cousins. He stacked up with JJ, so that's why we prioritized him and kind of faded quarterback. We went with Kyler Murray, which I'm okay with, kind of selecting him for the second half of the season. We've got Hollywood and we got Rondale Moore, so hopefully Moore and Kyler stay healthy, give us some value. Kenny Pickett's our QB3. It's not beautiful, but we're going to be relying on Kirk for most of the season. So quarterback, not a ton of upside outside of a healthy Kyler, but it allowed us to kind of load up at receiver and running back early on. So at running back, we've got Swift, Pacheco. The main reason they were my first two selections, don't forget this is a very heavy running back draft early, so there are only so many selections. But the reason I went with them, end of the season, valuable games, fighting for playoff seeding, fighting for home field advantage potentially. Two very good offenses. I'll take those guys all day. I love Rachaad White as a RB3. Kenneth Gainwell, once again, give me a piece of the Eagles. Why not? There were barely any running backs available at that point at pick 144. Add two rookies who could see some value this year in terms of Dwayne McBride and Zach Evans. Receivers, we got JJ, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, Hollywood Brown, Allen Lazard. I love that start. Love the first five guys in our room. Then we add Rondale Moore and we add Kayshawn. So Kayshawn, our final selection of the draft. Rondale Moore helps advance that stack with Kyler potentially, although I am worried about Moore's long-term health. And then we got Evan Engram and Greg Dulcich, so a pretty good-looking tight end room as well, as long as they stay healthy. So overall, I'm okay with this team. I think it turned out okay, actually. So I don't have a ton of projected points, but that doesn't really matter. So, but yeah, man. J-Dubs, thank you for drafting with me tonight. Had fun with you, man. Sorry about your stack. Forgot you have Metcalf. Oh, you're fine, bro. Did you take Geno? You didn't take Geno. No, you're good. I did kind of want Geno for that reason over Kyler, but Geno went at 10.5. I got Kyler at 11.1. It is what it is. Which stack? Oh, Lockett. I did want Lockett when you drafted him, but I'll survive. I mean, I was super happy with getting Rachaad White when I got him, so I'm not too torn up. Not too torn up. Yeah, you went Lockett at 6.11. I definitely would have taken. I mean, if White and Lockett were there, I would have taken both of them and been super happy. But Rachaad White and Hollywood, I'm not too upset with, for sure. Yeah, man, it was a good draft tonight, for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got some editing to do. Gonna have a video for you guys tomorrow. So thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Sorry for like the very little announcements on Discord today and just hopping on when I could. Just had a very loaded day, and I was super busy today. But got some short form content out there for you guys on Instagram, on YouTube as well. And tomorrow my top 5 rookie tight ends will drop. And yeah, that's what we got going. Tomorrow we'll probably run a startup mock. I meant to tonight, but I mean we've at least ran one the last 2 nights, and get a best ball in the middle. Why not? So thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Thank you guys for talking fantasy with me. Thank you, Jados, for drafting with me. And just continuing to try and get out as much content as possible for you guys this month. So make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. If you guys are new to the channel, thank you for being here tonight. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and check out our links down below. Join our Discord. Follow us on Instagram. Best places to get mock draft invites, updates on the channel, when we're going live, all that good stuff, as well as being active with our community. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. You guys know who you are. Thank you for being here tonight, tuning in and listening in and all that good stuff. So everyone be safe, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch. And